some air in here tonight. Usually we don't.
It's 5 o'clock. We will begin the May 31st, 2012 Mayor and Aldermen Workshop. We're going to begin with Citizens Forum. James R. Mosley, 149 Greenwood.
Thank you, Mayor, Alderman. My name is James R. Mosley. I live at 149 Greenwood Drive, and this is addressed to the slumlord that accused me of building without permit. My first permit is dated 4/23/03. This is for my swimming pool. Second permit is May the 4th, 2011. This is for that addition to the back of my home. This has been posted ever since. If you can see this, it's still posted. I like screening the back and putting a screen door on, and who wants to tell the world that I didn't get my permit is welcome to come to my address. Now let's talk it. I would very, very, very much like to see him for about 5 minutes anyway. Thank you.
Doug Schaefer, 192 Morningside.
Afternoon, Mayor and Alderman. I've been remiss in something I've been meaning to try and get up here and say, and that's that y'all passed earlier in the year, the property tax relief. And just in my opinion, I think it's going to be hard for y'all to top it as a board for what you did for the poorest of the poor in our city, because it can be quite a relief for them, especially in these times. Now, I get two other things to mention. The one deals with stoplights. One is if you're heading towards Nashville and you're at Parthenon and near Schreibman, and the light to turn left on Parthenon turns green no matter whether there's any traffic there or not. You know, you can tell, and it'll stay green longer than it does if you're coming in from Nashville to turn left in the other direction. I just think, to me, it's something to be looked at. Dick Buchanan, sometimes that light coming down Dick Buchanan, when it turns, a car's out of sight. No other cars come, and it's still red on Murfreesboro Road. But the real reason I want to be here today is the landfill out of Walter Hill. It belongs to Allied, formerly BFI. It'll come up in about 7 or 8 more years for its height. It can only be so tall, and then the state has to give it a waiver or whatever. But my point being is, if we lose that landfill out there, that it's going to cost everybody in this county a lot of money, because we don't, there's no other place near it right now. The counties comes out and we get a pretty good deal. Like it doesn't really cost us anything. And what I'm getting at is recycle. And I wish that y'all would look into as putting back on Channel 3. I know it was there several years ago, but we're under a mandate from the state to recycle 25% of our waste. And we're making headway as a county, everybody as a whole, and it's really come up in the last couple of years. But up here at Sand Hill, we take cardboard, aluminum, colored and clear bottles, newspapers, cardboard if I didn't say it, but there's quite a few recycled things that easily people, when they come up to the convenience center, the dump, can separate before they leave home. And I just, if you could maybe put that reminder on Channel 3, it might help a few people and help us all then in the long run. Thank you.
Thank you. Kathy, if you and Jerry might get together and come up on something on that, it is a good idea. That'd be great. Thank all of you. All right, we're going to change up a little this time. We are going to do an Employee of the Month from last month, because our Employee of the Month couldn't be with us at the regular meeting. So we would like to honor him tonight. So if you'll bear with me to get around there. Our employee of the month, if you would step forward, is Mr. Doris, better known to all of us as Bubba Hartman. I'll be brief because I know you don't like to stand up here, but Bubba is over our water, where we go out and check the meter, our water meters, and has done a very, very good job, takes his job very, very seriously. Matter of fact, went out, found someone that had been trying to slide it by you. So you can't get much past Bubba, so don't even try. But we appreciate everything that you do, and he's been with us for years. The City of Laverne Certificate of Appreciation is hereby granted to Doris Bubba Hartman for your dedication and hard work for the City of Laverne. The city hereby recognizes you as Employee of the Month for April 2012 and thanks you for the excellent work you do for the City of Laverne. Thank you for all you do. All right. Please review the minutes from May 1st, 2012. Be ready for those on Tuesday night. Also, we'll have several presentations after the departmental reports. We'll move right on to old business. We'll have the second reading of Ordinance 2012-05, an ordinance to amend the 2011-2012 fiscal year general fund budget and capital plan for 2 public works vehicles. I'll let Phyllis go over this with us. This is not extra money. This is money that we had in one place, and I believe we've moved it to, had enough that they could buy 2 trucks. Am I incorrect on my assumption?
That's correct, Mayor. Budget had been set in a different line item, and that line item has not been used, so they want to utilize that money in this fiscal year for another line item.
Okay.
A couple of meetings.
Open the floor up for any discussion. Any discussion on this matter? Okay. Y'all stop me because I know we've got a lot. So, number 5, second reading, ordinance 2012-06, an ordinance to amend the 2011-2012 fiscal year police impact fees budget for communication equipment. Again, this is money. It's not extra money, it's money that is being moved. And Phyllis, you or the chief want to go in the details with that?
Mayor and Alderman, this is money that actually comes from the police impact fee that goes into a special fund. It's restricted in the ordinance that was passed several years ago that it can be used for equipment, buildings, not for personnel, etc. Enhancements, improvements in the need of equipments, buildings, etc. We have a situation now where we have 7 new officers that do not have a portable radio. There were no spares purchased down the road. So when these new people were identified over a period of time, and with our vacancies too, there weren't sufficient radios for them, portables. The 7,000 portable that the officers are utilizing are quite a bit more than the 6,000, which is a rougher, tougher, is the coated to kind of protect it from some of the bouncing around and weather related. The plan is to purchase those 11 new radios, have them there. We'll have an additional radio for hopefully some more reserve officers that are coming when they work. We will also have them there for spares in the event one does go down. We have one to replace it with and assign to these new folks as well. The new radios we buy will be more cost effective. They won't have all of the particular features, but they will be able to communicate. We will replace rescue and box portables that are there with the new radios after they arrive and they're programmed, and we'll take the 7,000s and move them over and assign those to the officers.
Okay. Do you have any questions? Any questions? Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
And what I'm doing, I'm going through all the old business first, and then we'll try to get to the ones that may, I know we have some guests in here that have some, we'll skip around on the new business, if that's okay. Number 6, second reading, ordinance 2012-07, an ordinance of the City of Laverne, Tennessee, adopting the annual budget and tax rate for fiscal year beginning July 1, 2012, and ending June 30th, 2013. Okay? I don't think we don't have any changes on the budget. None whatsoever. This is the same that we've been looking at now. I believe y'all all got a current copy prior to the meeting. I hope y'all have had time to look over it. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns. Any comments? Please.
I do want to note that there will be a public hearing for items 4, 5, and 6, including this ordinance here
Okay.
on Tuesday night.
And that begins at 6:30.
Yes, ma'am.
6:30, public hearing. If I have no questions or comments, I'm going to continue to move forward. Number 7, second reading, ordinance 2012-08, an ordinance to amend Title 15, Chapter 6 of the Laverne Municipal Code regarding no parking on the street and amend Title 15, Chapter 7, Section 15-703 of the Laverne Municipal Code regarding the enforcement of illegal parking. I am opening the floor up for anyone that has comments. Please do so now. Any comments, concerns, anybody from our employees or council? Well, we'll have this will be on the public hearing as well, will it? No, you won't? Okay. All right. Okay. I'm going to continue moving. Excuse me. Number 8, second reading, ordinance 2012-09, an ordinance to amend Title 2, Chapter 6 of the Laverne Municipal Code regarding the Local Emergency Planning Committee. And I believe we are adding the Parks and Rec. One member from the Parks and Recreation. And then we changed Fire Marshal to Fire Inspector.
And we added the ability for, if somebody cannot attend a meeting, they can send, that department or agency can send somebody in
Their
their
designee.
place. Right.
Which I think that, especially in their cases here, you've got people that sometimes might be in another emergency. Chris, you or Ricky want to address anything here?
I'm good with it.
Okay. Any other questions? Comments? All right, number 9, second reading, ordinance 2012-10, an ordinance to amend Title 18, Chapter 3, Section 18-306 of the Municipal Code regarding grinder pumps. This is, I think we've discussed this. We've had a lot of information out about this. This is for strictly the people that abuse their grinder pumps. And there will be information sent out. I think we do a press release on this, I believe. We've done everything possible to get this information out of what to put in these grinder pumps, what not to put in the grinder pumps. So I will open the floor up. If I have any comments or concerns here from this council. If so, we can ask. Mr. Zimlow is here. I'm sure he'll be happy to help us answer any questions that you might have.
The only question I got is on the grinder pumps. Is it everybody on the grinder pumps, the ones that's already on it, the ones that's, the new ones they put it in, is it all gonna be the same?
It's all gonna be the same.
It's
All we're
okay.
asking is that if we go out and find abuse of the grinder pumps, whether it be grandfathered ones in or even new ones coming in, basically we're gonna give them 3 strikes. We're gonna warn them 3 times that, hey, you can't be doing this. And then finally, and then basically what it does say then is that we're still gonna come out and service it. We're not gonna leave them without a grinder pump. But then if you abuse it 3 times, you're gonna be responsible for the cost of fixing it is all.
Yeah, I really don't have a problem with that. When they started putting it in '86, the citizens didn't have a choice. Some of them got gravity flow, some of them got grinder pumps.
Correct.
And, you know, the grinder pumps, over time, they get some problems. You know, if you got gravity flow, you ain't gonna have no problems. If you got grinder pumps, it may cost you some money. That's the only problem I got.
Okay.
You know, no citizen asked for the grinder pumps, you know.
What was the cost again? I think you gave some figures last month on how much
Well,
the city repaired grinder pumps.
In the first quarter of the year, January through, March, about 40% of our calls were to pull, unjam pumps that had feminine hygiene products, Swifters, baby wipes, and reset them. They didn't ruin the pump. But that doesn't mean that the other 60% of the calls we went on, the pumps weren't damaged because of that, okay? I agree that the citizens didn't have a choice when they went in probably, but on the same basis, if you're abusing it, should the rest of the citizens be responsible for it? That's what we're trying to get away from. And out of 10,000 customers in our city, 1,700 of them are grinder pumps, and this is costing the 80% that don't have grinder pumps, that have the gravity. They're subsidizing the cost, and that's all we're trying to do. Is we're gonna send out letters to everybody. We're gonna educate them what can and can't go in these things. We're starting a program in July that we're going to go out and clean and inspect every grinder pit in the city within the next 3 years to see what shapes they are. I mean, we're going to try to do everything we can not to burden the taxpaying citizens of this city. But we just feel that if they continually abuse them, then we're trying to do everything we can.
These are things you shouldn't be flushing even if you don't have a grinder pump. That's the problem.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Jerry, I think though, I guess my question is this, you stated some numbers, what it was costing the city last month, I believe. How much money are you talking that this is costing the city at this point in time?
For the entire program?
Well, you said 40%, so we can take off that number there. I mean,
well, 40% of the calls in the month, I wasn't prepared for that one tonight, Tom, but probably $3,000–4,000 in the month, so about $12,000 in the quarter if you take in manpower, wages, benefits, and then parts that we may need to repair the pumps.
And the pumps alone are what, $1,500 a pop?
The pumps that we've went back to, what's in our municipal code, the E1 pumps are now $1,050 for the pump, okay, is what we get the core pumps for,
so basically, it could be upwards of $50,000, $40,000 for the year that the city's paying. And
easily.
so it's just inexcusable when it's just common sense that certain things don't go down.
Easily.
And we're not going after everyone, it's the one that we know that are habitually abusing it.
And we have had some people that have we've had to go out on calls and they were like, hey, It's not us, it's not us. And it's like, no, this was just normal wear and tear on the pump. You're fine. We're not going after you, you know. And we know that there's gonna be normal wear and tear on pumps. I mean, pumps wear out, okay? It's not the greatest system in the world, but it's the system we have. So, and we're not trying to go after anybody that has a normal wear and tear on their pump.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Judy. Number 10, motion to approve a 6-month extension to the agreement with Camco for the existing city telephone system. Ruth, that's you, TJ.
We've had, Evan had talked with them and, has not had much luck on getting them to change. They're still looking at doing the 6-month as the only option that they're offering, so we're still kind of on that same ground right now.
As far as, have we had the attorneys, I know there were some things that's been scratched through.
Right, and they have
Yes.
pretty much agreed to those changes.
Okay,
And just to give a further update, the RFP for the new system is already out there.
good.
We'll be receiving the proposals, I think it's the 11th of June.
Yes.
And we hope to have that back before the council at the July meeting. And the way we've written the RFP, we're hoping to have the installation completed, I think it's by the middle of August, roughly.
Yes, sir.
So that gives us, you know, the 6-month extension that this contract will give us goes through September the 9th if this is approved. So we still have 2 or 3 weeks there to play with, hopefully, if the installation doesn't go as smoothly as we hope it will. So everything is in motion to get the new system put in, but we won't know what until after the RFPs come back here in a couple of weeks.
Okay. All right, any questions from this board? Questions, comments?
I just don't see much use in signing a 6-month contract that's going to go up through September if we're that close. I mean, they're going month to month with us now, but I mean, I know you said that we're kind of, at any time they could pull the plug, but
Yeah.
we're kind of thinking that TAMCO may bid on this as well, so I see that as unlikely.
Right.
Well, we kind of toyed with that, seeing if we could.
I don't know if the attorney's up to date. I don't know if you're up to date on that. Evan probably is. I'd like to hear your opinion on it, which you might not know.
I have not discussed this with Evan.
You didn't discuss
I'm
it.
not.
But we have Tuesday night, or prior to Tuesday night, if y'all would like to get in contact with Evan, or have Bruce, if you have questions, get with Bruce or Evan prior to Tuesday night.
You might make a note, Evan might explain something about it tonight.
Okay.
Nice.
At this point, we've concluded all of our old business, and we're getting ready to go into our new business. And we do have some guests here. I know we have Bill, we have Bob Shute. Are those are the only two? Okay, so let's go on and get those. All right, who's actually first on the agenda here?
Cheney Boulevard.
Okay, let's do, if y'all don't mind, let's do these so they don't have to sit through all the meeting. All right, let's do Cheney Boulevard. Oh, he's over there.
If he's got any questions, or you got any questions for him, he can come up to the podium, but basically, it's Cheney Boulevard sidewalk project that we've been discussing for, well, basically it's been for years now, and finally got it bid out and received bids back. You should have in your packets a recommendation. We'll have to do this kind of like we did Fergus Road. This is a recommendation. The council will need to award it to who they would like, and we'll have to submit this to TDOT for concurrence. As you can see from the included information that you have, Highways Inc. is the low bidder at $469,687.50. So, if you got any more questions? I do have a set of the plans here if anybody wants to take a look at them.
We are excited to get this going. So we should have both of our sidewalk projects up and running in the next month or so. Or at least one of them started.
Fergus, we're looking at June 14th as a start date.
Yes.
And if this passes, I'll have to send in concurrence with TDOT, which will take 30 days, and we got to have a pre-construction meeting, and you're looking at probably 2 months beyond when you award, if you award it Tuesday night. So maybe 2 months from now we get started. 2.5 months we get started on this one.
Hey, they're starting. We're so excited to see work. You have any questions regarding the Cheney Boulevard sidewalk project from Kyle or a guest? Any questions? Okay, good deal. All right, who's next on the agenda? Bill, which one do you have? 26. Bob, looks like you're next. You and Fred? Hey, you. Okay. Here we go. That'll be number 20.
Okay.
Motion to approve recommendations regarding amendments to the city health insurance plan.
Mayor and Alderman, we were approached, or we've had discussion for months now about some changes. We brought other changes to the board. I think that we said we would go back and look at some things, crunch some numbers, and come with some specific recommendations. Our proposal is to design to reduce claims and to shift the current costs of our group health plans for the years to come. And if the board approves, it will reduce the overall current cost of the emergency room visits, the pharmacy claims, and shift a small percentage of the premiums to the employees hired on or after December 31st, 2012. We've talked to you in the past about changes in pharmacy, charging $5 for generic prescriptions. That would be those prescriptions that cost $5 or more. If there was a $4 prescription through Walmart or whatever, then that would not be applicable. We want to remind everyone that generic prescriptions are free to employees through the Care Here Clinic. That was a change from $10, what we recommended before, changed the preferred brand from 15 to 20, and also add a third classification for non-preferred brands for that. And we can take this one piece at a time. Do you want to add anything to?
Just on the pharmacy piece, I think I pointed this out before. You all, I'm sure, are aware, every year pharmacy costs go up. They're out of control in that there are new drugs coming to the market every day. And if you don't make some change to your co-insurance, the plan continues to absorb all of that increase. And it compounds itself over years and has led to where we are today, where you really need to take some action to where everyone that's participating in this helps participate in those increases. So that's the first reason to do this. The second is that now you have a very unique instrument in place in the clinics, which would allow people to get a lot of these drugs for nothing instead of the copay going up. So there are alternatives that we didn't used to have.
Okay, let's go over. I think there was some confusion when you said non-preferred brand.
Okay, non-preferred brand would be, we don't have that classification now, and Bob probably would do a better job of explaining that. Let's say that there's some drugs out there that that I want to try as a patient. Right now, the cost of any drug, even if it were experimental, if it was on a non-formulary, am I saying that correct?
Those tier 3 drugs are basically lifestyle drugs. They're not something that is relevant to someone's ongoing health condition, but more of a lifestyle choice or an improvement in lifestyle or those kinds of things. So, and they're usually pretty expensive.
And right now, you would have a $15 copay for those drugs. And we're saying if I choose to get those drugs prescribed to me, I would pay $30. So $15 more would be charged to me for something. This is customary in pretty much every plan except for ours. I can reference Kroger, I can reference the companies I left where this was generally at the minimum twice the highest deductible. At Kroger, it was $100. So we're talking about 30 bucks. We're just trying to do things to help preserve the plan. Currently, approximately our balance in reserves as of today is about 298,000. That really needs to be 380,000 to 400,000. All the changes that, from my calculation, at a conservative guess, is that these changes could bring about $50,000 more into the plan. And what we try to do is do reasonable costs. Hopefully, we won't have a lot of folks here, but we're asking all of us to be consumer conscious about how we spend our healthcare dollars. And I keep saying that because it's everybody. I just can't say, well, it's just what I do. It impacts the entire plan.
Any questions on that, on the
Thank you for the lifestyle.
drug aspect? Any whatsoever? Okay.
On cost shifting, our recommendation is that no change for the existing employees or employees hired before December 31st, 2012. New employees hired on or after 12/31/2012, a percentage of the developing employee-only premium costs. For example, we would not charge someone hired January 1 of 2013 if they enrolled in the program. If that's me in the health plan and I'm only covering me, the city would continue to pay the premium for that as we do today. If I enroll my family, I have a wife and child, then the city would pay the cost of the employee-only premium and 80% of the difference, so that the city would still pay a substantial amount of the premium, but about 20% of that cost for that plan would be paid by the employee. And I didn't do this, and I was supposed to do this. I'll do it before Tuesday. I didn't realize that. But what I'll show you on Tuesday is what that cost would be. And these are just projections, but what that cost would be bi-weekly, what the cost to each employee. We also said, okay, employee plus spouse. We've got two tiers right now. Employee and family. We can dump in one or the other, and we recommend that we do employee plus children, employee plus spouse, and family, which is common for a lot of plans. They have a 4-tier plan, so we're trying to also have more options.
And let's reiterate the fact. If you're currently employed by the city of Laverne, this cost shifting would not affect you. It's the employees
Right.
hired after December 31st, 2012.
And traditionally, I think last year, I don't think we had a hire in December. Generally, and I would, because if you all approve this plan, I would make sure that anyone hired, that we have a break where no one's confused about coming in, new employees coming in. Generally, because of the holidays and folks taking vacation, it's just not a good time to start new employees anyway. So we would conscientiously work to break that and explain that as well.
And like Fred mentioned, these are the monthly premiums. If I did my math correct, the family contribution per pay period would be $131.02 per pay period. So that's, that's more what the employee is looking at is the bi-weekly amount. So.
And some of the things that we looked at what other areas do, what Smyrna, what Murfreesboro would do. Some of you may work for the county. What we're asking is not out of line for that, and And our goal is to protect the plan long-term for every employee. I want to reiterate that it impacts me as well as anyone else. So I'm just not sitting here trying to devise ways to cause problems for employees. I understand the impact and the morale. Most people, when they come into work for the city, find it hard to believe that they pay nothing for the premium. You know, I said it again, the small company I come from, I had a very good PPO plan similar to what we have. We have Cigna as our carrier. I had Blue Cross Blue Shield, and I paid a lot more money for my plan. When I was downsized, my wife had the same plan for her employer, and myself and my children could join her plan easily, but it was going to cost us right under $1,300 a month to do that.
Any questions?
If they're, I don't know if they have any more, but I was just going to say, I think it's time that it would make sense right now as we're going into another fiscal year to bring this to a vote now and put this to a vote come Tuesday.
And like I said, the current employees, you have a question, Chief? Go ahead.
I want to go back to the medications.
Okay.
For maintenance medications such as Plavix, ATC, metoprolol, lisinopril, Crestor, et cetera, if there's no generic, can the clinic give those to us?
The clinic cannot. The clinic only, because of space, size, et cetera, only has generic. And I checked to make sure, and I asked that question as well, but we won't be able to do that.
There's one additional, it's a good question. There's one additional factor, and that is that the clinics are charged with finding out what you pay now through your plan for those type of medications. And if they cannot purchase them less than that and save the plan money, it would be better to take it through your normal plan. So it's really a cost issue. I can tell you in very well in Sumner County, the clinic up there, the county decided they wanted a pharmacy, not just a clinic. They wanted a pharmacy where all the employees could actually go there. So they thought they would stock it with generics and Crestors and name brands. They started losing their shirt after about 3 months. I mean, the numbers just didn't happen. So they quickly pulled all those off the shelf and said, this is not a good thing for the plan, for the money of the employees' money. So we put a stop to that real quick. So we have a real life example of that. That doesn't work right now. So, but we monitor it all the time. And I can tell you that some clinics do carry a few name brand drugs, but the only reason they do is because it's specific and they've found out that they have a source they can purchase it. And if I could take one other real quick example, because this is important. Consolidated Utility has a clinic. There was an employee there who, quite by accident, they found out this employee was taking a really expensive drug. And it was costing the employee a lot of money. So the clinic checked on that one drug to see if they could get it through a single source. They were able to do that and actually eliminated what the employee had to pay for that drug. And the employer actually paid less than they were paying through the old system. So there's a lot of flexibility to that plan, but the key is communication and asking. And anytime you've got a situation like that, it's good to ask the clinic, we got this situation in particular, can you do something about it? Sometimes we're surprised and it's a real good outcome. So it's another tool you have available to you.
Then is there anything changing for employees as far as those non-generic meds are concerned?
The preferred brand would be where currently $15.
Okay.
$15.
So the copay is the only thing that's changing then?
Yes, sir. The
Okay.
formulary doesn't change at all.
Okay.
That's on the employees now, that's not including the new employees.
That's, right, that would be for everyone, and new employees coming into the plan next year would pay the same as everyone else. We just, if you remember initially, we set $10 for generic, but after coming before this panel, we thought it would be much better. Certainly, we don't save as much money for the plan, but certainly for the employees to pay. Keep in mind, there's some things that they can do. A lot of drugs that are available generic, those $4 Kroger, Walmart things. So if they were there, that wouldn't cost them anything now. But if I choose a generic drug that costs $10, then I would pay $5 for that. So that's what we're trying to capture, some of the dollars back into the plan. And I overlooked the other thing that we brought before you the last time, and we strongly recommend that we move that copay from $25 to $100. And I changed that effective date to give us time to communicate any of this to our employees, to send letters, to talk with them about it, et cetera, so to August 1, since those changes would occur in this year. I would take that responsibility to do that. The emergency room copay, I would recommend that we do that. And I still stress that if you wake up really, really sick in the middle of the night, in the middle of the morning, I've been there. I go in on a Sunday morning and have surgery before. Go. That's what it's for. But what we're trying to stop from occurring, and sometimes happen, I've got a cold, I don't feel well, I'm going to go to the emergency room because it's only a $25 copay. But it's still 10% of a very large bill that you're going to incur, that the employee is going to incur, and I guarantee you long term they're going to pay more doing that than what's going on now. These are all things that are tough to deal with, and I understand that. I understand the pressure. I feel like a man without a country and a city standing here, but I also know that to date we spent just under $800,000 in claims. You know, and I know that we spent $500,000, just under $500,000 in prescription drugs last year. So I'm just trying to reserve the health of the plan long term.
Any other questions, comments? Any other questions? Thank you guys very much.
We got another one. You want us to walk away?
Oh no, which other one?
Should be
Number 19, property and casualty.
I
That's
didn't
okay.
see that. I'm so sorry. Number 19, motion to approve bid for the property and casualty insurance.
We just, we did an RFP, my very first here, had a lot of inquiries. I know that, that Bob and Jeremy and Anna and those guys were worn out. We got a lot of calls here. It's our recommendation after when we opened the bids and went through, we had two. We had one from TML, our current provider, and one from the Tennessee Risk Management Pool. It's the recommendation of our consultant, Bob, Jeremy and his team. It's our recommendation, strong recommendation, discussed it with Bruce, our interim city administrator, that we accept the TML bid. It's more than $10,000 less than Tennessee's risk management bid. Lower liability premiums for 2012, 2013. The city's property deductible with TML would be $250 per occurrence, which we have now versus $1,000 with Tennessee RMP. The Tennessee RMP's deductibles in the event of the floods, as we were experienced those in May of 2010, would be $25,000 versus $250 for that alone. The entire package, TML bid, Tennessee RMP didn't want to bid that. As a matter of fact, in essence, what their recommendation is that they bid the property, that we keep TML for the other areas of coverage and then pay them an agent fee to do that. So I know, I wanted to know what they were smoking. So without a doubt, we feel strongly that we stay with where we're at. And plus, it was good for TML to understand that we were going to send this out to bid to look at some things, and I'm sure that we can bring them back in and talk about some additional things that we can do to long-term manage our costs for the property and casualty piece.
Do I have any questions here? Any questions? All right. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
All right. Let's go now quickly to number 26, discussion bid water treatment plant improvements. And this is dealing with the category B.
Thank you for taking me out of order. In January 2011, we put together a capital budget, which y'all seen before. And last year, this board directed us to go ahead and make plans and specs and take bids on category B. I stayed in touch with the mayor. We were waiting for your funds to build up. So it took this long for your revenues to build back up to be able to spend this money. And even now, they're not built up completely. So I worked with the mayor, and we took bids on items 8, 9, and 10. And the reason we picked that was that involves the disinfection system at the water plant, which leads to the health and safety of the water. The other items on here, the building repair, the floor, the windows, the painting, the air conditioners, they still need to be done. But we just broke those out because of the city's cash flow. So we took bids last week on items, like I said, 8, 9, and 10, which is replacing, right now you use a disinfection system that's generated from salt. It takes salt and water and electricity and generate chlorine, you use that to disinfect your water. So we took bids on a new disinfection system, plus some storage tanks inside the plant and some new feed pumps. And on May 22nd, we took 6 bids. Our low bidder was by W&O Construction Company. They've worked here in Laverne before and have done good in the past. I hope that's an indicator they'll do good in the future. Their bid was $577,800, and the budget was $730,000, so we're significantly under budget. Sent a bid tabulation, which I hope is in your packet. It looks like this. 6 bidders were under estimate, 2 bidders were over estimate. So we had 6 bidders, and we were glad to get that many bidders. The bids are good for 60 days. The Public Works Director is off this week, and I know he has an interest in this. If you think that you want to consider this bid seriously on Tuesday night, I'll go into as much detail as you like tonight. If you think the Public Works Director may want more time to review these, you've got 60 days. We can do this again next month. What would the board like me to do tonight? I can stop now, or I can go into as much detail as you like.
Now, Greg was in on this from the beginning, if I'm not mistaken, when we all started talking about doing the tanks. Wasn't Greg in the beginning with all this?
I'm not sure.
Okay, there you go.
Okay.
Poor Ron, he's sitting in the corner. Is he fully aware of all of this?
I'm pretty sure as far as I know right now, he should be fully aware of everything that's going on right now.
Okay.
He sent me an email last week asking that this be deferred for a month.
Okay.
There's some things that he is wanting to look at in further depth.
Okay.
To consider it, and so I'm not sure exactly what those things are, but he did request that we put this off for another month and look at some things during the month of June. And if we need to, we'll come back in July and approve this at that time.
Okay. Is that okay with everybody?
Bids are good for 60 days.
Okay. So we're just gonna defer.
Just take that off the agenda.
Or just take it off. Okay.
I can go into detail, but you'll have to sit through it again later. But if you've got any questions now, I'd be glad to answer them now.
Do you have any questions?
Okay, thank you.
You get to come back next month.
I'm fine with that.
Thanks, Bill. All right. Now we'll get back on task here. And we're going to the consent agenda items. Under A, we have number 2, which is fence maintenance. Who has that? Jeff? Thanks, Bill. Who has the fence? It just says Parks and Rec.
I mean, I can speak to it.
Okay. City to be for receive, Stacy has spoken with the Woodrow Police Department.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, there were only 2 that came back. Ace Fence was roughly half of what the other was.
Okay.
And we opted to go with, Felicia's recommendation was Ace Fence Company.
Okay, Ace Fence.
And both of the bids are in the packet.
Yeah.
But this is just for, basically maintenance of all of our fencing needs. It's not, I don't think it's just for Parks and Recreation. I think we can use this for police as well, in the other areas that we have fencing.
I was going to say, what are we doing about the fence for the police? At one time, we had said that it might be best if you were thinking about redoing the whole fence back here.
AC had worked on that and had gotten some bids with the current funding. And when he and Felicia sat down, they were talking about fencing at other areas like a public works lot. All of the sewer pump stations, the main stations have to be fenced. The Parks and Recreation areas that have to be fenced, et cetera, et cetera. So when they talked about that, instead of doing just our one project over here, they decided to go out and put it out for bid to take a look at it to see what the costs were going to be, because they felt like we could probably get a contract that would be a citywide rather than doing it project by project by project. And that's what they were attempting to do, I believe, wasn't it, Bruce, for the whole process?
Okay, so that's awesome.
I think it's
So it should be
mostly,
cheaper in the long run for all of us,
Yes.
if that's the case.
Well, anytime you do that and build out.
Right.
you
And
know,
as soon as that's done, then we'll be able to go ahead and proceed and get this done this year,
Okay.
so that we can,
I believe it's a 3-year deal, so,
Awesome.
yeah.
Chief, when that's done, the expectation is to move the storage lot down by the senior citizens
that's
back there. That's the overall plan.
That's correct. There's also some problems back there where the fencing was not done correctly to begin with. The fencing behind the wooden building that's there is actually just nailed and the nail pushed over on the fence. It wasn't done correctly to begin with. And that's part of the problem. So we will probably be able to use the amount of money we have to extend it out further, which gives us some more security for one of the things that I discussed earlier with one of the storage areas we have there for the facility itself. Bring it closer to the front, and we'll have the screening around it where it protects from the visibility of what's there, and then move those vehicles out there, those that we're not going to be able to sell.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right. Next, we have the citywide security and access control bid. This is Guardian Systems project for the Public Works building. And I believe this is the gate, the main front and the gate.
And also for the front door of the building itself.
And this has been needed. Anybody have any questions? It's not? Okay. Where is this going to come from then?
I don't know unless they've, have got some savings on another line item. I would have to look at their current spending to see. I can do
Okay,
that.
great.
I can do that before Tuesday night.
Yeah, we need to know what line item that he's going to pull this from.
We probably need to take this off the consent agenda then.
Yeah, take that
Since there's
off.
a question on this item. so.
Yep. I thought it had been allotted.
in last year's budget us talking about doing anything like that this year.
Okay. All right, next we have mower for the street department. Purchase one mower using this bid. All right. Zero turn mower bid, street department. And that is Murfreesboro Kubota LLC, $10,438.32. Okay. Was this a budgeted item?
I believe so. Garland, you?
No, we're taking it, I think I didn't bring my paper with me.
You're using money from another line item?
I think we had $78,000 allotted for a loader, and we only spent 26.
Okay.
And we're getting the mower and the truck out of the remainder equipment.
Okay. And as everyone knows, the street department taking over quite a bit of the mowing, too. Do we have any questions? And y'all stop me as we go through this. All right, next is a copy machine for Parks and Recreation. And this is the lease of a copy machine at the Parks and Recreation building is up for renewal. The pricing is GSA contract pricing, and the vendor is NTR, who is located in Murfreesboro. And the monthly copy is $358.76 per month for 60 months.
And this also includes the maintenance agreement with it as well, so.
It's just also, that's pretty standard, all of ours has limits.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a pretty standard limit? Okay.
Yeah, I think it is.
Okay. Any questions? And we're gonna move on to the police department, which also, has a copying machine. And I haven't been at Parks and Rec, but I've been over to the police department. You got a sick one over there. It's stubborn.
It is, and it's had a lot of maintenance recently, too.
Now, anybody stop me if you have any questions. And this is also the GSA contract pricing, vendors, the MTR, out of Murfreesboro. And I would say we're going to move on to CID as well, and this is the same. So do I have any questions? Okay. Number 9, police department building lighting.
Yep, skip number 8.
Oh, I'm sorry, Kyle. State contract pricing, plotter for engineering department. I'm sorry. And I do know this was a budgeted item.
This mayor's board is not a budget
It's
item.
not?
This is something that we had on the capital plan for year 2013, 2014 for $30,000.
Okay.
And looking at the first state price stuff that I can see where, I'm not gonna say TJ, I was getting pricing from Matt before, was getting that high of numbers. But we've since worked with and found one on state pricing that fits our needs and stuff for $9,118 to do the copying and scanning and printing that that we need. And I do have areas and other line items that I can take this from. So it's like I said, it's not technically budgeted, but I do have money in the budget for it.
You always have money. You can stretch a penny better than anybody I know. You do a good job, Kyle. We have to pick on you. Do you have any questions? I know we discussed this a great deal. That's why I remembered it at our, retreat.
We can't even plot from it right now. It's tore up again, and it's one of those cases you get somebody out and spend $300 or $400, and it lasts for 3 or 4 months, and then it's broke again. So definitely need just to continue to spend on this. We'll need to get a new one.
I have to agree. Any questions? Any questions? Anybody? Okay. All right.
Mayor, that's used an awful lot too for other departments as well. every special event we have, we ask them for additional street maps, for parade routes, et cetera, et cetera. So it's not just for them, it benefits the entire city.
Uh-oh, you better watch it, he's gonna start asking y'all, hey, y'all wanna throw in 1,000 or two?
We have a roadblock.
But that is true. I know there's several times I've asked them, one day it was down, we needed it for something, and it was down, so. All right. Next, number 9, police department building lighting. Who's gonna jump in here on this one?
I will. Now, AC's done all the work on this part of it, and I can't tell you all of the technical things about it, but we went to AC to try to find out what we could do about lighting around the building. There's virtually nothing out in front except very small lights that as you try to walk in the door anyway. Nothing out in that parking area. In the back, the lights that are out there are the older model pole lights, which don't do a very good job lighting up the back end of the PD either. We have one that's in a back corner back there in the seizure lot. If we're going to add to it, we're going to have lighting there, and there's nothing toward the other end either. So when we started talking about it, we looked at the 1,000 watt lights that are at, for example, Save-A-Lot. And they're similar to what they've got over there, and that 1,000 watts is what we used as the standard in where and what they anticipated the coverage would be. And from talking to AC, he feels like that's probably a pretty good bid to get what's needed there to light that area up around it so that when people come here, they feel safe to come here, for one thing, to the front of the building, know where to go, et cetera. And then it also protects property we have behind and property we have in the seizure lot as well. And I can't tell you a whole lot more about the bid itself, but
Well, it looks like,
What's being recommended is to purchase the fixtures from Team Electric
yes.
and then have Seals Electric actually do the installation, and that ends up being the cheapest way to do it.
Okay.
Or least expensive. I don't know
Least expensive.
yeah, you see that one, the total package, 15,460 was one bid there. And it actually winds up being, the total's what, 8,006, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, Phyllis is shaking her head.
Again, it's not a budgeted item for this year.
Right.
Okay. So y'all gonna get together and find out where we're pulling it from? You gotta get on Phyllis's good side, chief.
We pull this one off the consent agenda as well for the.
That'd be fine. All right. Next, we're going to B, which is approved contract with TDOT for the maintenance of Murfreesboro Road.
This is the annual contract we do every year with TDOT for the cleanup and mowing along Murfreesboro Road. I don't believe that there's really any changes that I'm aware of. It's just the standard contract. You know, I really didn't check that. I think the bottom line numbers are pretty much the same.
Is it in this package?
Uh-huh.
So
If you
it's
scroll,
$140 a month for litter pickup and.
You know, I'm not trying to be mean here, but I've never seen them on our road. It's always been our guys.
We do it.
well, we do it and we get
bill them.
reimbursed by the state.
Okay.
What we do, Mayor, is I bill them monthly or bi-monthly for litter pickup and mowing. We can do mowing 6 times a year, and we can do litter once a month or 12 times a year. And we actually send them an invoice, and then they direct deposit or ACH the funds into our
Okay.
general fund
I just
account.
wanted to make sure. Well, I was getting ready to.
The total amount of the contract is $25,887, and that's in the neighborhood of what we usually do.
And they will also reimburse us for any patchwork we do, any paving that we do on Murfreesboro Road. So if we do any kind of patching on Murfreesboro Road, we need to let me know, because that is kind of an abnormal expense, and I would have to capture that a little differently.
Yeah.
Let's just repave it then.
So just keep that.
Let's just repave it and charge them.
They don't give us but a very little
Very
allowance each year.
21,000 is the roadway surface.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
can't pay much for 21,000.
Well, I should my blood pressure all up there for a minute. All right. Now, y'all stop me if I get to going too fast. Approve an application for a roadblock to be conducted for the Laverne Library from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. on June 9th, 2012, with a rain date of June 16th, 2012, at the intersection of Murfreesboro Road and Stones River Road.
What we're hoping to do, Mayor Mosley and the board, what we're hoping to do, the library board is trying to be more active in our fundraising efforts for the library, for supplies, materials, et cetera. We're doing two things on the 9th. We're hoping to sell quite a few boxes of Krispy Kreme donuts. We wrote block at Stones River, Murfreesboro Road. We got one order. The first thing I would like to do, what I would like to do is do pre-orders of cards to employees and send some stuff out. If you all approve the roadblock, we can sell you cards in case you don't want your Krispy Kremes. Then you can take them in and get them at a little bit better rate and help the library at the same time. So I think I ordered 50 cards. I think we could easily do 100 here in the city.
Well, let me just tell you, I'll tell on everybody, that is the FOP's fishing tournament.
On the
On the
9th.
9th, and we're all to be, the ones that are fishing are supposed to be ready to put in the lake, I think at 4:30 that morning.
I can bring you donuts if you want. You'd like to have them. In the cards, if they want to buy extra. But two things, the cards are, if somebody doesn't want them now, and want to use them later. The donuts are to sell. We're going to sell at a roadblock also. Smith's, a local store here, has helped. Is going to help and let us sell out in front of their store. So we would like to raise a few $100s for the library, and that's the 9th. Now I'm serious. If you got a large group and they're willing to buy some donuts, I will meet you at 4:30.
Who is over the fishing?
Can't we give the people who are going to the tournament the cards?
We need
and
to
then
get
they
up.
can get their donuts later.
Yeah, we can do that, but hey, if they're willing to buy donuts, I will bring you donuts.
I'm going to throw Chip Davis under the bus.
Okay, all right. Well, you know,
We're all gonna be
you're
out
talking
there.
about the FOP.
Yes.
Kevin Kalinsky, is he in here? I think they got to be good for at least, you got police officers, 10, 20 boxes. No offense. But I hope you'll approve that.
Do we have any questions? Any questions? Thank you, Fred.
Fred, you ain't trying to say police donuts goes good with bullets and blue lights.
No, well, when I 8 new officers, and I wasn't even thinking about it, we had so many new officers start, and that morning I was thinking, well, we're starting at 8 instead of new hire at 9 o'clock, so I went out and picked up donuts and had them on the table. I didn't even think about it. We never afraid to touch them, but the existing officers had no problem.
That's great. Thank you, Fred. Number C, approve an application for a roadblock to be conducted, D, an application for a roadblock at Murfreesboro Road and Stones River Road, which will be the Shriners. And that will be from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., and they are June 30th, 2012, with a rain date of July 7th. And they will be, again, at the Murfreesboro Road and Stones River Road. They haven't been there in a year or so, have they?
I don't think
It's
so.
actually a little later in the year than they normally do. They usually do it around the 1st of June to the middle of June, and so they're doing a little bit later, but, yeah.
All right. Any questions? Next, E, approve an application for a grant from Christy Houston Foundation for the AEDs. Who has that one? Okay.
This is just us asking for the permission for us to, myself and my team, to approach Christy Houston for the AEDs, for the patrol cars and all the city buildings. And we're requesting 100% funding for that, but we needed to ask permission first for us to even do that. A lot of times Christie Houston will come back with alternate offers, though. I mean, it could be a 80-20 or a 50-50, and obviously we'd have to bring that before council, but this is just for us to ask for the grant.
Sounds good. Any questions? All right, thank you. F, approve interagency contract between Rutherford County, City of Murfreesboro, Town of Smyrna, and City of Laverne for Project WET. That time of year again.
Basically, hopefully I won't have to be here next year with the same contract. That is the one change in this contract, that it does have an automatic one-year renewal. We would just have to give, I think it's 30 days notice that if we don't want to continue. This is in our NOI, so it's basically a requirement of the state that we do public education. Basically, the county contracts with the Discovery Center in Murfreesboro. They've got one employee that goes out to different schools when she can get into them to educate the kids on water quality and things like that. In the past year, she's touched about 2,500 kids, even came to our summer camp for a day last summer. I think everybody had a lot of fun. We were playing in the creek over here, found little critters and did a whole bunch of activities with the kids, and it was a great day. And she does that anytime she can get into the schools. And I do know for a fact she's been at Rock Springs a couple of times already this year.
And this is a mandatory part of our...
The public education is mandatory, and this is what we've put as what we are going to do for our education. The total amount for the contract is $6,000, and we pay that quarterly. And this is in next year's budget.
Yes. Any questions? All right. Thank you. All right. Let me see. Make sure I haven't left anything else. Moving right along to number 12. Motion to appoint or remove board members. Our first board is the Local Emergency Planning Committee. We have a vacancy in Box 100, and that is the new Box 100 Chief, Mike Bunch. And that is, right now, our fire marshal, we're still working on the fire marshal.
All right, well, when this ordinance is approved, hopefully Tuesday night, that will be changed to a fire inspector. So we'll wait on that for, you know, we've got one budgeted for next year for fire inspector, so that appointment will have to hold off. And also next month, the Parks and Rec director will also be on here for appointment. So.
All righty. Parks and Recreation has a vacancy. We have 3 applicants: Brandy Jackson, Ken Cowan, and Steve No. So please read the applications thoroughly, and we'll be looking for a recommendation for that board, to fill that board. And Tom, you're over that board, so read over and look the applications over. Any questions? Any questions? All right. Number 13. First reading, ordinance 2012-11, an ordinance to amend the City of Laverne zoning ordinance by changing the official zoning map for tax map 29, parcel 29, located along Carruthers Road, consisting of 92.82 acres from a PDR, planned density residential zoning district, to an R2 medium density residential zoning district. Received an unfavorable recommendation from the Planning Commission on May the 29th, 2012. I'll bring this up. This is the land that we rezoned a few years back. You and Dennis should remember this, where we had the planned density where we were going to have all the green space. It was going to meet up with the real nice one. They were supposed to have some commercial in it that met up to the part in that was there at Nashville, there at Carruthers Road. At that time, if you'll look, I think we all were given plans back then where we were talking about the roads were going to be done, the roads were part of this whole package, et cetera, et cetera. Well, the financing fell through on the PDR with that. Now we have someone that's wanting to come in here and turn it just into R2 zoning, which is R2 lots, 200 homes, which I know what they were trying to say. It was a lot of the same numbers in the PDR as was the 200 homes. Technically that's so, but it's not so, because they had worked in park areas, they had worked in some commercial. This is strictly 200 homes, single-family dwellings, and this was what was discussed at the Planning Commission. Number one, they did not continue on with the roads. Nashville did do a nice section of Carruthers Roads over there, but if anybody's been down to Carruthers Road, it dead ends into a mess coming into our city. We have a bridge that will not handle that. This is what we tried to explain the other night. We're still working on our pumping station over there. You know, our water tanks. Right now, we can't keep them full. That's why we're waiting to get the new pumping station over there. And at that time, the Planning Commission did not feel that our infrastructure was prepared to let this type of a development go in there. That's what's happened to us in the past, and we don't want to go down that road again.
Right.
Now, that's why it received an unfavorable recommendation. I think, did I get it all, mention everything,
Pretty much.
Tom?
Pretty much,
Mayor, I spoke with Mr. Gary Madison late yesterday afternoon. He was supposed to contact Kristen again today, but I don't think he ever contacted her. He basically was stating that it seems like at this point they're wanting to, after concern was brought up the other night at the meeting, was wanting to withdraw, but I don't think you can withdraw a request. That's why I told him it would have to be voted on. But I think he just wanted to go back with a development, I don't know if it's a company or some owners, and discuss with them and the banks, and maybe have a meeting with yourself and kind of address some of the concerns about the roads and things like that. Not saying it should change anybody's mind, I'm just saying that's what was on his mind right now, so I'm sure that's why he's not here tonight, and probably won't, you may not see anybody with this, so just wanted to let you know that he probably will be contacting Kristen to say that they don't want to go any further until they get some more information, try to go back to the Planning Commission.
Okay.
We have had other rezoning requests where the applicant has withdrawn, you know, prior to the first reading, so I don't know.
He said he wanted to withdraw if he could, and I told him to get with
We need it
Kristen,
in
which he
writing
said
if
he
he's
would
gonna do
call her today, but he's not contacted her, so we'll probably try to give him a call tomorrow to see if he definitely does want to withdraw. You just need that in writing?
We would need that in writing, and then, of course, it's really up to the board whether or not to allow it. So Tuesday night, you know, it's either your option to allow it to be withdrawn, or you can still deny it, so.
I think it's important that we say it again, that we're not opposed to the development, but we want the development to be done right, so we're not in the same problems that we've come up with some of our other subdivisions, and certainly would love to work with him if that's what he's wanting to do at this point.
He was stating on the phone he agreed with, because he said he would love to have argued back, but he had no way to argue back with you. He agreed with every point you had, or you know, the board had the other night, so he's wanting to kind of look into what he needs to do to kind of address those issues, so. Seems like they're wanting to work with it to get it to work.
And we love to fix the roads and help us there, will we? But, you know, that's just not right now on our main, got other things we gotta get done, so. Any other comments? Discussion matters? Okay. Number 14, first reading, ordinance 2012-12, an ordinance to amend the City of Laverne zoning ordinance by changing the official zoning map for tax map 18P, Group C, Partial 5, located at 514 Old Nashville Highway at the intersection of Cheney Boulevard, consisting of 0.5 acres from an R3 high-density residential zoning district to a C2 highway service zoning district. Received an unfavorable recommendation from the Planning Commission on May the 29th, 2012. Again, the reason this was a little quirky. Now, Kristen, if I get this wrong, you can help me. You're Tom 1. Mr. Wilkerson, who owns the property, had a gentleman ask for a rezoning because he was wanting to build something there that would be a C2 district, which we all agree we love C2s as opposed to R3s, which are mobile homes. The gentleman that originally asked for the rezoning backed out of the zoning, or backed out of whatever business he was wanting to do there. At that time, Mr. Wilkerson came in, had no plans. He likes the C2, but he also was talking about that he rents the property there. So what we explained to him is I love a C2 zone, especially there. However, if we rezone it and something happens to his renters, he can no longer rent. Like if they move out or whatever happens, he can no longer use that property as rental property in a C2 zone. He didn't show up to the meeting. So there was nothing else that was said. He didn't like the idea. If he changed it, if something happened to his renters, he couldn't rent it. And I don't recall, he never withdrew it. So with that being said, there was not any more information given to the Planning Commission. It received an unfavorable recommendation. So did I miss any of the details in there? And he did not show back up to the meeting to withdraw or to explain anything any further.
I think he kind of left the meeting that stating he did not know that would be the case. And I don't think he officially said he was withdrawing, but I think that was kind of the feeling that everyone got. If we're going to allow previous gentlemen to withdraw, is there any way we can contact him to see if he can officially notify us if that's what he wants? That way we're not voting on something for next month.
Any other questions? Number 16, a resolution, number 15. First reading, ordinance 2012-13, an ordinance to amend the Laverne zoning ordinance as it pertains to sign variances, received a favorable recommendation from the Planning Commission on May the 29th, 2012. And Kristen, you may have to jump in here on this one as well, make sure I'm explaining this correctly. When we redid the sign ordinances, at that time, this was prior to a lot of the businesses building down on the New Paul Road end. It was 3,000 feet from the exit, and we do have businesses going down through there, and at this time, they have no way, any business that goes down through there, of having signage on either side. So, and there's no way to give them a variance because we did not put any type of variance allowance in for signage on that. So all this is doing, and it still has to go before the zoning appeal. So not everybody along the interstate can just, ooh, I'm in this section and I can put up whatever I want to. That is not the case. They do have to go before the zoning appeals, show what type of signage that they're going to do for whatever business they are within that footage that we did not allow for. Did I say that right?
It's pretty good.
Okay. If we have any questions, please stop me. And like I said, this is just giving them a way to go to the Board of Zoning Appeals. And of course, the Zoning Appeals will look at everything to make sure it fits in the criteria. And if it's something that we deem that's acceptable coming into our city. All right. All right, until y'all stop me, I'm going to keep moving. Number 16, Resolution 2012-05, a resolution of the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of the City of LaVergne, Tennessee, authorizing the insurance, sale, and payment of capital outlay notes not to exceed $990,000 pursuant to the informal bid process. I finally got that out, Phyllis. You wanna?
Mayor, this is the resolution that's required by the Comptroller's Office in order for us to issue the capital outlay note for the police vehicles and equipment. During the process, we found there's some documentation, including this resolution, that is required for this type of note, and this is just to issue that resolution.
Rose, do you have anything else you, or
You know,
Tommy
maybe
wanna
there's a
add?
typo, I think, in the language on line 4, it says 9,990,000.
Yeah, we'll have to change that.
So,
I have to thank our police chief for that.
Yeah, we'll change that by Tuesday.
We're identifying it.
We literally received this about 30 minutes prior to the meeting, so that's why the title on the agenda does not match the title on the actual resolution.
This resolution was actually prepared by our bond counsel.
Okay.
Bassberry and Sims.
Okay.
It was recommended by Evan to let him overlook the, all the documentation from SunTrust and all the requirements by the state, so they were able to help us out with that.
And the only thing I would add to it is, I think it was 2 months ago, this board approved financing for the police vehicles and equipment. At that time, we had it on the consent agenda. We thought it was a lease purchase type of agreement. After the board had approved it, when we started working on this, we realized that they were actually wanting a capital outlay note. So we had to go through a different process for that capital outlay note, and that's why we have to do this resolution.
but we still have the money, people.
Yes.
I mean,
Oh, yes,
it's our money. We're not borrowing. Let's get that clear. We have the money.
SunTrust is just waiting on your signature.
So,
The approval from the Comptroller's Office.
any questions? We only have, what, 2 more, don't we? Okay. It's 6:30, and I do, if you don't mind, I do have people requiring a break right now. So it is 6:30. If y'all don't mind, we'll take a quick break and return at 6:45. Is that okay for everyone?
Thank you.